Hey gorgeous, welcome back to Life in Style. Today's video is going to be all about my favorite affordable blushes. I love blush. If you've seen my videos, you know I talk about blush all the time. Between that and eyeshadows, those are my two favorite categories in makeup. But blush for me just finishes off a look. I mean, lipstick does that at the end of any look. But just when you put on blush, for me, it just brings this life to the skin because you're adding back this flush. You know, once you have your foundation and it kind of cancels out everything, the blush brings the life back into the skin, or so, you know, that's the way I see it. So anytime I put blush on my skin, I just feel like it comes alive and it's finishing the look off beautifully. So these are my favorite affordable blushes. I scoured my makeup collection for those that are just the tops for me when it comes to affordable blushes. Some of these you can get at Ulta or other drugstores, and then some you do have to order online. Let's start with what I have right in front of me, and these are the Morphe blush palettes. The first one I ever purchased from them was the 9B palette, and that's what it looks like right there. This palette has traveled with me so much. It is crazy how many times I have taken this palette to travel with me because you just get such a smattering of fabulous colors. You get pinks, you get this bright kind of orangey red, these beautiful kind of like everyday mauvey colors, some with just a little bit of shimmer, but for the most part they are all matte. Again, this is one of my favorite blush palettes. Every time I travel, I always grab this palette because I can just get such a good collection of different colors. There are times that when I've traveled, because sometimes if I'm traveling for a long time, I've got to be extra and bring other things. There have been times that I have just brought this blush palette and nothing else. Then after that one, they also came out with the 9N blush palette, which is their neutral blush palette. Again, how absolutely gorgeous are these shades? They're just so beautiful. This one being my favorite. I like this one as well. Some of these are a little too light for me, but sometimes I'll mix a couple of the shades and they just work really beautifully on my skin. The formula is very nice. The color payoff is very nice. Blendability on these blushes is just extremely gorgeous. So again, this is one of my favorite blush formulas, and to travel with these palettes are just absolutely top notch. One of my highest recommendations for any type of affordable blush would be these two Morphe palettes. The next one I have here is from Maybelline, and of course you can get this wherever Maybelline is sold, Ulta, CVS, Walgreens, what have you. This is the Master Blush Color and Highlight Kit. I remember when this first came out, I have said time and time again on this channel, I have never met a blush palette that I didn't like, and for the most part that is very true. Look at that color. Those colors are just so gorgeous. This being my favorite. I will use these two sometimes. The highlighter's actually very nice. I was very surprised because you never know what to expect with highlighters in blush palettes, especially drugstore. And this highlighter is actually very nice. This is another one that once I got it, I have traveled with quite extensively because I do get beautiful looks out of this palette. The color saturation on the skin is gorgeous, blendability is beautiful, and the longevity of the blushes and the highlight are really nice as well. The next blush palette that I have is from NYX, and this is the Sweet Cheeks blush palette. I remember when this first came out, I ordered it like almost immediately, again being that it was a blush palette and Mama is addicted to blush in palettes, and it was fabulous. So I ordered it right away. Like, I kept looking at the email, I'm like, when the hell is this thing gonna get to my house? One of the best I have tried as well. A lot of these colors work for me. You have a little bit more of a shimmery shade here in the corner. This has a little bit of shimmer to it, but the rest are mattes and very beautiful. This top row being my favorite. I mix and match, this one being my ultimate favorite, but the peach is very nice as well. I'm not too much into peach blushes, but this one I like the way it looks on my skin. I'm going to link everything down below so you have prices, and everything that I'm talking about today is easily accessible, again, whether it's online or at a drugstore or an Ulta. The next two blushes I have are the Maybelline Fit Me blushes. These are the newer ones. They had kind of revamped the packaging, and that's what that looks like. This is in the shade Plum, which is a little light for me sometimes, but I'll kind of use it as a topper a little bit. And then this one is Berry. This is actually the one I am wearing right now. I just finished doing a video before this, and I had used a lot of Maybelline Fit Me products, and I decided to pick this one up. This, again, blew me away. One of the very best drugstore formulated blushes that I have ever tried. The color selection as well, like the color range on this is quite extensive. They have, I don't know, I want to say 10 or 15 different shades, and I hope I'm not over exaggerating, but I know that when I saw the display at Ulta, I was like, wow, this is awesome. There's so many different shades to choose from, and they're very inexpensive, so that's another plus. These are even more inexpensive than the Maybelline Fit Me. This is the Wet n Wild ColorIcon blushes. I think everyone has seen what these look like. These, I believe, are $2.99. You get a pretty nice size pan of blush there. And let's see if I have a color. This is pearlescent pink, so this has got a little more pearly shift to it. And then this one here, which is Mellow Wine, I haven't even opened it because it's a backup to one of my favorite shades. I have one that's open upstairs, but these as well blend really nicely on the skin. Color payoff is really nice, and they're not just good for the money, but again, at $2.99, like, you can just get the whole collection. I will say the shade range is not great in this. I want to say they only have like 4 or 5 in this specific kind of blush collection from Wet n Wild, but the blushes that they do have in this collection are just so gorgeous on the skin. They just add this flush to your skin that just looks so healthy and natural. I mean, you can build them up if you want, absolutely, but just putting a little bit of that blush on the cheeks just makes the skin glow almost like from within. It's really beautiful. I have 2 of the well, actually the only 2 e.l.f. blush palettes that came out. I remember when these came out quite some time ago, they were all the rage. I first bought light, I believe. Actually, I think I bought dark first, I believe. So let me show you that one first. So it's one of the compacts like this where you could actually poke these out. So if you have like the bronzer palette, the highlighting palette, you could make your own little travel palette if you want. You get a really nice size mirror here, and these are the dark shades here. Let me see if I can try not to get too much light on there, but those shades are absolutely up my alley. They all work beautifully on the skin. I have used them all. I have taken this palette as well to travel. You know, once a palette makes it into my travel bag, or any item of makeup makes it into my travel bag, you know that it's serious how I feel about that palette, because when you're traveling, you want the best with you, and I have taken that with me so many times. And then afterward, I said, you know what, let me just get the light palette, because some of these shades actually do work for me as well, more in the winter than in the summer, but they do work well on my skin tone when I use these. And again, blendability is really nice. The way they sit on the skin, the way they last. These 2 palettes are just beautiful, and they're only $6 a piece, so you're getting 4 shades at $6, which is a really good deal. The next blush that I actually have 2 of these, but I just brought this one out because it is my favorite shade. It is the NYX Ombre blush. Also, these, when these came out, these were like, you couldn't find them anywhere. And finally, like, I had to let that whole thing die down in order to get one. My favorite shade is Mauve Me, which is just, I can't even like describe to you how absolutely beautiful the shade is. Now, each of these, because they are ombre blushes, whatever shade you get, you're gonna get your main color here, and then you're gonna get a light kind of highlighty shade there. I just swirl the whole thing around, and it's nice because it kind of brings a lightness to this color here. And the other one I have is a little bit bright for me, so I tend to wear that in the summer when I'm a little darker. I wanna say that these may be like $10, but if you get it at Ulta, you can always buy, like, you know, find a buy one, get one 50% off deal. If you like these types of shades, if this is where your heart lies, go out and get this blush. If you do not own this blush, you will not be disappointed. At first, I'm like, this color's kind of weird, man, but once it gets on the cheeks, oh, it is honestly one of my favorite blushes out of high-end drugstore, whatever. It is such an amazingly gorgeous blush. This shade, particularly on my skin tone, just looks ravishing. Like, I can't even describe it any other way. It's gorgeous. These 2 blushes I have are from Flower Beauty. These are the Flower Pots Powder Blush, and these also get beautiful, beautiful rave reviews. The packaging on this is gorgeous. You have a little flower there in indentation in the blush, if you could see that there. This one is in Sweet Pea, which is a little light for me. I tend to use this in the winter if I don't really want a lot of blush on the skin. This one is when I want a really nice flush of blush. This is in Deep Peony. This one has just a tiniest hint of shimmer in there, but nothing that's overbearing, so that if I'm wearing it on the face, I don't look like I'm wearing glitter on my face. These blend out like an absolute dream. They wear forever. I definitely want to get more shades because the blushes are absolutely gorgeous. They are now going to be selling Flower Beauty at Ulta. I don't know if it's at every Ulta across, you know, the United States, or if it's some, but you can get, you know, Flower Beauty online without issue. I believe they sell it in some Walmarts, although the Walmart that they used to sell it in, that's closest to me, they took out Flower Beauty and put in Kokie Cosmetics. So I just order, whenever I order, I just do it online, and it's absolutely fine. I've had no issues with it. The last blush that I'm going to talk to you about is a blush palette by Makeup Revolution. This is the Sugar and Spice Ultra Blush Palette. When I first saw this several years ago, this was, I think, $10. That's a lot of blush for $10, and it's a lot of fabulous blush for $10. I love the fact that you have your mattes, you have some of these like topper shades that are really iridescent, you have a hot pink, you have your more kind of nudie tones. This palette is so amazing, and I believe they come in a couple of different variations and also cream consistency as well. So if you like cream blushes, they come in that consistency as well. My girlfriends, I think I bought this when I was in Florida visiting my best friend, and we always stop at Ulta. They know we always have to stop at Ulta. And I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is not in my Ulta yet in Connecticut. So I grabbed this palette. It was $10. So some of the girls tried the blushes. We had to go back the next day so they can get their own palettes. That's how good these blushes are. They are some of the most vibrant blushes I have ever used. Color payoff is definitely there. This is a palette where you have to kind of be careful when you're sticking your brush in there. Make sure that you're tapping off any excess before you put it on your cheeks, and then kind of build up from there, because they are extremely pigmented. But the flush that this blush palette gives your cheeks is absolutely amazing. The blendability is beautiful. And I mean, $10 for 8 blushes is just really, really nice. You get a big mirror here. But again, just the quality of these blushes is gorgeous. I love the fact that they have these 2 little shimmer shades if you wanted, like toppers, if you wanted to add a little something extra to one of the matte blushes, you can absolutely do that. So if you haven't tried the blushes from Makeup Revolution, even their singles are really good, but I just grabbed the palette because it's something that I love. And after I had purchased it in Florida, I have actually traveled with this as well. So a lot of these have made it into my travel bag. And again, you know, it's a serious love affair if that happens. That is going to do it for my favorite affordable blushes. These, again, I mean, there could have been more that I picked, but I wanted to really pick for me the creme de la creme of my affordable blushes. Those blushes that I know I reach for more consistently than others because of the formula, the colors, the way they blend out, and that sort of thing. If you want to see anything that I talked about today in a upcoming video, please just leave that in the description bar below, and I'll make sure to include it in a future video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click that little bell so you get alerted as to whenever I upload new content. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.